So unfortunately, I have to preface this video with a message. Unfortunately, the camera video that I had got corrupted somehow. So basically, I'll just be giving the review without any video, just pictures and different things. So sorry about that, guys, in advance, but here we go. Hello everybody, this is going to be another One Piece review. This one's going to be chapter 954, Like a Dragon Growing Wings. It's basically just an idiom to say something that is already strong, like a dragon, is growing wings, getting even stronger, which I think we're going to see later on in the chapter, but let's just dive into this one. So again, we're back with the cover story with Beiji following him and the fire tank pirates. It looks like he customized the new ship that he stole in the last one. It's kind of funny, it has him and the fire tank pirate symbol on it, but it also has a little flag that says I love family, which is, really sweet considering how sweet and loving Beiji is as a father and a husband. But the main problem here is that it is going to be impossible for them to cross the red line because the reverie is happening right now. So that's going to be interesting. I wonder how they're going to manage that. I completely forgot about that. They are in the New World and they're going to have to travel over to the Grand Line. Not sure why they're going to have to try and climb over the red line. The Thriller bark was in the Grand Line, so you'd think that they could go underneath the water again to pass like they would have to in Fishman Island, but I suppose that they're taking the more difficult route and climbing over the red line. But we begin the chapter back with Kawamatsu and Hiyori and Zoro back in the Ringo region. Basically, Kawamatsu is saying that Hiyori cannot possibly give up Lord Odin's sword, even though Shusui is a national treasure, the god killer Ryuma's sword, even though it's a real keepsake to the country, Hiyori was given one of Odin's two swords, and it would be shameful to him if she gave one over to Zoro. We also see that Momo has received a sword from Odin too, called the No Habakiri. Apparently he was a two-sword style wielder, kind of like how we've learned that Orochi is, but we're not exactly sure if he is because we haven't ever seen him use any swords or anything. We've only ever seen him use a gun, so I'm not really sure if that is accurate to what Orochi is or not. So I guess we'll find out as we keep going along. But basically, Zoro is just saying, I don't know, I really like Shusui. I get it that it's a keepsake for your country. I didn't steal it, I won it off of Ryuma, which we all know, but again, Ryuma was supposed to have been a corpse for a very long time at this point, so it's very doubtful that anybody from Wano would actually believe him when he says that. Zoro basically just says that it was stolen by Gecko Moria, which we all obviously know because he reanimated Ryuma's corpse. But Zoro basically just says that he'll take Enma in exchange for Shusui, but He says that during his duel with Ryuma that he kind of connected with him as a swordsman, so he wants to go visit his grave afterwards. I guess maybe it's to prove that it was stolen from Gecko Moria, or not sure. Maybe he just wants to pay his respects to the late dragon killer. And afterwards, it's kind of funny because Kawamatsu's basically like, this guy has to be delusional. There's no way that he could have fought Ryuma. He's been dead for hundreds of years. But we cut back to the Flower Capital and we get a pretty big reveal. We see that Law has been broken out, or let out possibly, of his prison, and he has defeated Hawkins. We see that he has cut Hawkins completely in half and cut his hands off with his Ope Ope no Mi fruit. So that was pretty surprising. I mean, we were all expecting Law to have been broken out or break out himself from prison, but I don't know. I wasn't expecting him to just be able to beat Hawkins like that. He's a headliner and there was all kinds of other people around, so I'm thinking there might be some fishy business going on. But basically, Law is just kind of grilling Hawkins, asking him, what happened with your alliance with Kid and Apu? Why did you turn tail and run, basically? And Hawkins goes into detail saying, we were tricked. Apu was already a member of Kaido's crew whenever he formed this alliance trying to get us together, and basically it was a trap set by him, which is interesting when you think about it, because Kaido's entrance there, he was trying to kill himself by jumping off of the Sky Islands, but I guess in the case that didn't work, he was there and he was gonna conquer the alliance and just recruit more people to his crew. Hawkins says that there was a 0% chance of beating Kaido and a 0% chance of being able to flee successfully. So he had a 40% chance of survival if he succumbed and bowed down to him and joined his crew. So he basically said he had no other choice than to join him, which, yeah, makes sense. We've seen that his predictions are typically correct most of the time, so I imagine, and he really is like a slave to his predictions anyway, so makes sense that that's what he would do. Hawkins then says that Kid and Killer refused to bow down to Kaido, and they fought him until that they passed out. And Kaido doesn't kill people like that. He tries and captures them and breaks their will so that he can join their crew and be another strong member of the alliance. So I guess that's another question that we had answered, having Killer fighting alongside Kid. A lot of us thought that maybe Killer was trying to persuade Kid to join the alliance or whatever, but looks like Killer fought alongside Kid till the very end. Then they were held and given to Orochi, which they could do anything with, and we know that Killer was fed a smile fruit, and now he is basically a pleasure. But then Hawkins kind of starts mocking Law a little bit, kind of saying like, oh, your alliance with Straw Hat Luffy is going very well. You managed to break into Wano without any trouble. Which obviously they've had trouble because we've seen it. But then Hawkins goes on to say, but what about now, having a bit of a change of heart? And then it looks like Law kind of slashes him down. I don't believe he kills him. I don't think Law would have killed Hawkins there, but I think that he just kind of, shuts him up, maybe cuts his head in half with his Ope Ope no Mi. But Law basically just says, I don't need to answer any of your goddamn questions. And then we see a figure, a silhouette, approach as Law is escaping, kind of just stomping down. And as Law's leaving, the character is still in silhouette, saying, if letting me go is a part of your plan, then I will happily oblige that. I think it is safe to say now that it is Drake that has let Law out of his cage. I don't know who else would have done it. It's clear that it is a member of the Beast Pirates or somebody in Kaido's organization that has been letting him out, and it's not Hawkins, obviously, so I think that the biggest suspect here is Drake. I don't see anybody else that it could be, so my money is that it's on Drake. I'm wondering if he is actually a pirate. I know a lot of theories say that he is still an undercover Marine. I think that might be the case. We then cut to the Udon prison. Basically, Hio is training Luffy, saying, punch this iron grate. Imagine it is Kaido. Use your alternate haki, advanced haki to armament haki to punch through it. And we have some bystanders, some prisoners, presumably former samurai, saying, oh my goodness, he's just punching through that steel like it is jelly. I can't believe it. How is he doing that? So it looks like Luffy is progressing with his armament haki training. Hio must be a really great teacher, maybe on the even on the same level as Rayleigh. And we're getting a bit of a time jump here. After Law escapes, it says it's 6 days until the Fire Festival. We have this little montage, and it's 5 days until the Fire Festival. So it looks like they're just kind of progressing time a little bit here. We then check in with Kinemon and all of the people that are with him in Amagasa Village. Basically, Kinemon's just reporting in with everybody, explaining the update that Yasuie gave to the Kozuki symbol that they were handing out at the very beginning of the arc to the samurai and all the people, letting them know what the plan was for the rebellion, the attack against Kaido and Orochi, of course. And we are explained what the changes that Yasui made to it, the 2 lines, if we remember. Basically, the explanation is that the symbol was basically meant as one of the 6 ports in the Wano region. By adding the 2 different lines in it, it represented a different animal, because all of the ports in Wano are named after different animals. So basically adding the 2 lines meant that it is no longer the animal that was before. It is now a lizard. It was a snake before, probably to symbol Orochi and, taking him down. We then have a nice sentimental kind of moment where Kinemon is thanking Yasuie for his sacrifice, even down to the last minute. Yasuie knew exactly what he needed to do. He's really a true ally to the Alliance. All of the 9 Red Scabbards are just kind of grieving for him at this moment and praising him and thankful for all of the faith that he had put into them along the years. And we have a big reveal here. We have a lot of members of the Straw Hats in one place, and of course most of the 9 Red Scabbards. They bring up that only 7 of them are there. They have no idea where Denjiro is, and Neko Mamushi is not present with them. Probably because Denjiro is actually Kiroshiro, but don't tell anybody. But I think it's kind of funny that we see that Zoro is here with the rest of the Straw Hats. He's just kind of there unceremoniously. We had the one interaction with him and Sanji meeting up a couple of chapters ago, but other than that, you know, he hasn't seen any of the other Straw Hats, except for Luffy, of course. So you think that he would be having a little bit warmer of a reception to everyone here. He just kind of seemed off-putting. He's just sitting there listening to it. Also not sure if he has Enma yet, but basically Inurashi's saying, you know, we're kind of wasting time with this, you know, we've grieved and everything, but let's get on with things. And Kinemon's like, yes, you're right, let's get down to our strategy plans. So he says that obviously you know the one way of getting into Wano, which is being strapped to the carp and going up the waterfall, which we have seen most recently in the anime, of course. But there's also another way, which is go through the waterfall and catch a lift basically up to the top. It'll bring you to the Hakumai region. So we actually get a little diagram of Wano. It's basically kind of like a plateau-ish. We have obviously Wano with the Great Mountain in the middle, the different areas there, and Onegaishima there, the skull of presumably a demon or whatever, with 2 very massive kind of oceans, I suppose, and then spilling over to a waterfall, so a constant waterfall. Not exactly sure how the water gets there consistently. Perhaps it's the ever-raging kind of storm that we see at the very beginning whenever they're trying to enter Wano, but it's kind of very interesting. I suppose we should have expected Wano to be kind of elevated, considering they had to literally go up a waterfall to get there, but it was still something that I wasn't really expecting. But we actually get to see the entrance being used because Apu shows up with his crew and he contacts Kaido. Kaido's like, oh, you guys came back for the fire festival? And, you know, that's a little surprising. And Apu's like, of course we are. It only happens once a year and it's a great party. Everything's going to be great this year. We're going to jam out. It's going to be awesome. And I wouldn't miss it for the world. And basically Apu's crew's like, oh, hell yeah, let's do it. We cut to 2 cowering children and they're like, oh, one of them's like, oh, what is that? And the other one says, oh, those are the numbers of Onegaishima. We better stay clear. We're going to get eaten. And then we cut to a picture of them, and we only see their silhouette, of course, but they look like humongous monsters. Crazy monsters. They're probably going to be Awakened Zone Devil Fruit users of a dragon type, since that's a big thing with Kaido's crew, having dragon type zones on his crew. So I imagine that they're going to be something like the jailers from Impel Down, those massive, just hulking animal things. And if there's one of those in a dragon form, that is going to be some scary crap. It is, and they are kind of shown to be scary creatures, but you know, knowing Oda, they're also probably going to look really stupidly dumb. But then we see, you know, King and Queen, they're basically talking to each other. They're like, oh, well, Apu's here, and Queen's like, oh, I hate those guys. They're terrible drunks. They're the worst type of drunks ever. And we see Queen kind of confront Kaido and Big Mom. They're saying, oh, why are you guys so happy about? Weren't you just trying to kill each other a couple seconds ago? Couple of moments ago? Days ago? I'm not really sure the timeline of this. I assume it's days, since 2 days have passed. They're not going to be clashing for 2 days. Onegaishima would be rubble at that point. But basically, Queen is like, shouldn't you guys be still trying to murder each other? And we see Kaido and Big Mom basically saying, oh, it's our anniversary. Why would we want to kill each other? So I think that the theory, which, I mean, let's be honest, it's not that much of a theory considering, but I think that it is safe to say that Kaido and Big Mom kind of had a relationship at one point when they were back on the Rocks crew, and that Kaido is the father of Katakuri, Oven, and Daifuku. I think that that is a fair assumption at this point. But basically after that, they're saying, it's our anniversary, it's a time to celebrate. We hereby announce that we are joining forces, and we're gonna take down those Straw Hats. And that is a scary prospect. 2 Yonko teaming up together. Luffy and everybody had a hard enough time just escaping from one Yonko's territory, let alone, defeating Kaido and Big Mom at once. It's gonna be some scary stuff. I don't think that it is a ploy on either of their parts. I think that after, fighting enough, and probably they were talking as they were brawling, kind of hashing it out, I imagine that they really did come to some kind of terms. And just imagining Big Mom's forces, the Big Mom pirates, teaming up with Kaido's forces, the Beast Pirates, that is just absolutely terrifying, especially with seeing these new numbers here. I don't know, guys. This is, like the title said, a dragon growing wings. It is, Kaido just got a heck of a lot stronger, and it is going to be even harder for Luffy to beat him. I'm really curious to see what's going to happen here because, the Straw Hats were gaining some forces and everything. We were expecting them to be able to fight pretty well with everything that they've just garnered, but beating Kaido was still kind of, if everything goes right, it's kind of situational. But now with the Big Mom Pirates teaming up with the Beast Pirates, it is. Well, guys, it's been fun reading One Piece with you, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be over here in a minute because I don't see any possible way that they could beat Kaido at this point. But in all seriousness, I bet that the Marines are still having a plant on Kaido, kind of, monitoring everything that he says and does. And whenever they get news of the Big Mom Pirates and the Beast Pirates teaming up, I know that it's still in the middle of Reverie, but that is something that they just cannot ignore. There is no way that they are not sending Marines to Wano. They might even send an admiral. I really am not sure about that. If they send Green Bull, that would be cool. I know that he and Fujitora fought Sabo and the other revolutionaries at the Reverie recently, but I don't know, guys. They're sending some pretty strong forces, and this war is shaping up. I know I said this last time, but this war, it is shaping up to be a monster of a fight. There is so many people, so much crap going on. I can't believe this. This is a huge revolution, and I just cannot wait to see where this goes. So yeah, I really enjoyed this chapter, guys. A lot of bombshells dropped on us. Unfortunately, we have a break next week, so we won't be able to see where this picks up right away. This next chapter has to be the end of Act 2. There's no way that it doesn't end after something like this. And even then, you'd think that Act 2 would end on an even bigger bombshell than something like that. I don't know what could possibly top this. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time, and thanks for stopping by.